Middle Ages got left behind on this rock. Time just moved on.
There he goes again. I'm all right. Always enthused and always ready with the right words for all occasions. Maybe that's all there is to his public persona. Maybe I've been fooling myself these last 20 years. Always looking for the real...
You want to do something different? You want to walk over there?
Walk across that swamp?
Yeah, just like our ancestors did centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries ago. You're the one that wanted to do all the walking. Come on, let's go.
Maybe your ancestors used to do this. But unless my mother likes me, I don't have a problem.
Wouldn't you say so? Hello?
The clock did much more than that. It became the model of the cosmos. And then they mistook the model for the real thing. People got the idea that nature was just a giant clock, not a living organism. It wasn't always so, not before Descartes. When he introduced such thinking, it amounted to a revolutionary break with the church. He said, I don't need the Pope to tell me how the world functions. I can find that out for myself. Because to me, the world is just a machine. And then he became fascinated with clockworks and made the clock into a central metaphor. Mechanistic, as if nature functioned like a clock. You take it apart, reduce it to a number of small, simple pieces, easy to understand, analyze them, put them all back together again, and then you understand the whole.
Keep on going, Sonia. Don't stop. Who knows? You may just have that vital piece of information that we Pauls, venal and stupid as we are, have been missing out on all along.
Well, there you go, thinking in terms of pieces.
Pieces are all we get of the picture, only fragments. Come on, give me some examples.
Well, let's take the population problem, for example. You can't solve it by looking at different forms of birth control in isolation. Research has proven again and again that the most effective form of birth control is not a pill. It's economic and social gains, which will reduce the desire for large families.
That's true.
Do you know that in our world, every day 40,000 children die from malnutrition and preventable diseases? That's every other second. But the short lives of these children cannot be seen in isolation. They're part of a whole system involving the economics, involving the environment, and more specifically, involving high levels of third world debt. Of course, you can fix a fragment of a piece, but it will deteriorate a second later because what it was connected to has been ignored. We have to change everything together at the same time. The ideals, the institutions, the values. There is a new theory emerging now, which places all the ecological concepts we've been talking about into one coherent scientific framework. We call it systems theory. The theory of living systems.
Living systems?
Mm-hmm. All living organisms, as well as social systems and ecosystems. See, this theory would help us get a much firmer grasp on the sciences that deal with life. set of relations that reach outward to connect with other things.
What are those other things, please?
They are interconnections of yet other things, which also turn out to be interconnections, and so on and so on. You see, in atomic physics, we never end up with any things at all. The essential nature of matter lies not in objects, but in interconnections.
Everybody knows the chord. It's a third, the most basic of harmonies. Carries with it a very distinctive feeling, no? And yet, its individual notes carry none of that feeling. Therefore, the essence of the chord lies in
relationships.
And the relationship between time and pitch
Makes melody.
makes melody.
How can you talk usefully about a tree without talking about its roots or its leaves or its bark?
Well, I could, without even naming the parts you mentioned. A Cartesian would look at a tree and conceptually take it to pieces. But then he would never really understand the nature of the tree. A systems thinker would look at a tree and see the seasonal exchange between tree and earth, earth and sky. Would see the annual cycle, which really is one big breath the earth takes through its forests, providing us with oxygen, a breath of life, linking the earth with the sky and us with the universe. A systems thinker would look at the tree and see the life of the tree only in relation to the life of the whole forest. Would see the tree as a habitat for birds, a home for insects. But if you look at a tree and try to understand it as something separate, you will be bewildered by the millions of fruits it's producing in its lifetime, because only 1 or 2 trees will grow from those fruits. So if you look at the tree and see it as a member of a larger living system, that abundance of fruits will make sense, because hundreds upon hundreds of forest animals and birds will survive because of them. Interdependence. And the tree cannot survive on its own either. To draw water from the ground, it needs the fungus that grows at the tip of each root. And the fungus needs the root to survive, and the root needs the fungus. If one dies, the other dies. And there are millions of relationships like this in our world, each depending on each other for life.
What is life? Life is self-organized. Well, that's just extraordinary.
Yes, it is. And it means something specific, too. It means that a living system is self-maintaining, self-renewing, self-transcending.
What does self-maintaining mean?
Well, it means that a living system, although depending on its environment, is not determined by it. Take the yellow fields of rye around this island. With all the rain here, those fields should be green all year round, but every summer they turn yellow. Why? Well, to use a metaphor, each plant remembers that it originated in the hot and dry climate of southern Asia. It remembers, and not even a dramatically different climate can change its inner workings. Self-maintaining, self-organizing.